Kwentuhan, tawanan, ngunit maraming matututunan.
This is a podcast of empowered women empowering other women
Through conversations about growth,
and wellness.
this is
the GAWfriends podcast.
We are your hosts. I'm Marby.
And I'm Ai. Every Wednesday, we will be sharing tips about holistic wellness
And learning and professional growth.
Together, we will discover a happier
And a better version of you. So hey, GAWfriends!
Let's get the fun started.
Hello, GAWfriends. Good evening once again. Welcome back to the GAWfriends podcast. If it's your first time here, welcome, guys. Let us just introduce ourselves again. I'm Marby, and of course, my partner here. All right.
Finally, we're showing ourselves.
I know this is the first time. So, hello, guys. You're finally seeing the face behind those names. Welcome to the podcast. Again, if you're new to this podcast is all about, conversations around how we could grow and become better versions of ourselves. Okay.
Yep.
And we're finally back because we had a sort of a break, right, Aik?
Yes.
From the last set of episodes that
Episode.
we did last year. So we're glad to be finally back. And we have a very, very, very special guest today, right, Aik?
Mhm. Go ahead, introduce our new girlfriend.
Yeah. So as you can see, it's not just me, it's not just Marby and Aik. We have another person who's joining us today, and she's a good friend. And let me just introduce you to our guest today, who's going to share her stories about our topic. Okay. So our guest today is an air hostess for a Middle East airline, and she's also a mom and a wife. Okay, so let us introduce to you our special guest for tonight, Miss Mika
Hi,
Callanta-Upson.
hello, hello
Hi,
everyone.
Mika.
Thank you again for having me.
Hello.
Thank you to Aik and Marby. Well done, girls. I keep telling you girls this. Well done for GAWfriends. I'm very excited to be here. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Mika is the first girlfriend that we've invited.
Exactly. Our first guest.
Wow, I'm
Yeah.
honored, guys. I'm very honored. Thank you.
It's official. So yeah,
Correct.
everyone have spent their holidays and just like that, the
Oh
first
yeah.
month of 2021 is gone. How have you been starting your year, Mika?
Oh, my year has been a bit slow, but it's picking up. As you know, I'm from Dubai, so everything's pretty much still open here and
Mm-hmm.
back to normal. But yeah, everything's been going okay so far. Yeah. How about you girls?
Marbs?
Yeah, all good so far, just like with Mika. Still working, grateful to have a job. And I know last in our last episodes, I remember we started talking about, planning for 2021. So I
Yep.
did a bit of planning as well. So I have identified, our goals, for the family. So we're preparing for some really big milestones for our family this year. So it's very, very exciting. And
Wow.
it's a good, I think it's a good exercise to do it at the start of the year, right, Mika and Aik?
Yeah, that's true.
Perfect.
When, you start to plan what's going to happen to you for the rest of the year.
I'm so
Yeah.
agreeing
How
to
about you,
that.
Aik?
Well, yeah, actually, I second to that because I planned everything. Actually, on the third week of December, like my plans for 2021 with RA is done, right? And we are so excited about, moving to a new house, starting family, all these things. I mean, we've been together for almost 12 years, but yeah, we're just starting now,
Wow.
really, as
Bless.
husband and wife. So, but then again, something happened, family concern. So as I try to ponder on, no matter how much you plan for things, really, it's a matter it's more of like your readiness and accepting things that are unplanned, and you just have to let it go and move
Oh, yes.
forward. Yeah. So here I am, getting back on track.
Oh.
Yeah. So
That's great.
February, here
Okay.
we are, right?
Oh,
In two
wow.
Yes. Oh,
days.
yes. Exciting.
Just like that. And so, yeah, February is Love Month, Heart Month, right? And so our topic for this episodes and series of episodes is going to be hashtag love wins, right, Marby and Mika?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And so we have come up with topics that are very relatable, as always, right? In order for us to get in touch with the topics and how we can actually share and win our love for ourselves, for other people, despite the differences. And so our topic for today, we have here Mika to share with us her story. At the end of it is like
Her love
her
story
her love story. Yes,
that
exactly.
we all love, I think,
We
right?
are
Oh,
so
We're so
excited. We are
happy
so
for
excited for this
Mika
one.
thank
to find
you.
her true love. And of
Yep.
course, thank you, Mika, for accepting our invite. It's very personal. What Mika's going to share
Oh,
with us today is very
Mhm.
personal. So
problem, girls. Thank you for having me again.
we're going to talk about love wins despite the differences. So Mika here will be sharing with us her story, her love story. And of course, the details will be shared by Mika. But just as an overview, Mika met the guy and also married that guy. And that guy is not Filipino. So Mika is obviously a Filipino, right? But
I
how difficult or how easy is it ba talaga when you have a relationship with someone who's doesn't have the same culture, same traditions, right? So Mika will be sharing that with us today. So thank you, Mika. We're
You're
so excited.
welcome. Yes, I'm excited to share my story actually. But
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Um
I guess I'll just start. How did you guys meet? Let's start with that.
okay.
How did you guys meet? How
Mhm.
did you fall in love?
All right. Well, as you guys know, I've been living in Dubai for almost 13 years now. Actually, it's my 13th year. And it wasn't really easy to find like good men in Dubai when I initially started. Of course, I was 21 years old and I was very young. So I was having a hard time trying to meet really good men. One of the days, I think it was 2 years into Dubai and I still haven't met the right guy. I was automatically done with meeting guys, dating in
Oh.
Dubai in general. I told myself, okay, I'm just going to finish my contract, go back to the Philippines, meet a nice young Filipino man, and introduce him to my parents and live happily ever after. The day I decided this, I met a great girl on one of my flights, and she decided to ask me if we wanted to hang out. And so I went and hung out with her. And normally when I get dressed, I'm all full on and
Mhm.
get dolled up talaga when I go out.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this was of course when you're 23 years old or 24, you have to. So that time I told myself, no, I'm just gonna be plain Jane, go out and have fun, and finally just relax and think of myself this time. So I went out with this girl, and lo and behold, my husband was there at the same. It was in a club, so we met in a
Mhm.
club. My husband was there, and he approached me, and at that point, I was just like very hesitant and very, I wasn't in the mood to meet guys at that time. So I was just like, look, I was very
Because you're
cordial.
almost done with dating guys,
Yeah, I was done. I
right?
was done. I said no. And
Yeah.
then the fact that he said that when we did our formal meetings, he said that he was from London, and I was like, oh gosh, long distance was not my thing anymore because
Mhm.
I've experienced it, and it obviously didn't work out for me in the past. So I was like, okay, he's from London, but I was still I'm always a cordial person when it comes to meeting people. So I took the number and we exchanged. And after that, I thought that was it. That's how it normally used to be with Dubai. You meet
Mhm.
someone, if it didn't work out, bye. He called me the next day and asked if he can take me out on a date. And then I was even apprehensive because I was like, a date? Who takes people out on dates anymore? I don't know. But like in Dubai, you're like, want to hang out? Let's go. They're very straightforward here, of course, especially because Dubai is such a diverse country. There's
It is.
so many nationalities. Sometimes you're just like, wow, okay. So he asked me out on a date, and I even asked him, I was like, "Are you sure you want to go on a date with me, or should I bring my friends? Are you going to bring your friends? Is it going to be a group date? All
Sure.
these things." And no, he just literally wanted to do old fashioned, take me out on a dinner date, and that whole night we just talked and we got to know each other even better. And yeah, the rest is history. He was only on holiday, by the way. I forgot to mention that was his first night going
Oh,
out
really?
in Dubai, and he was meant to be there in Dubai
And he
for
met you.
2 weeks. Yeah, his friends took him out immediately to a club, and I was there. Um, so it was like a holiday fling initially,
Oh,
because he had to go back to Dubai after 2 weeks. And then luckily, because of my line of work, I was able to see him. London flights were very easy to get, so I was able to fly in and out of London throughout the 7 months we did long distance. So after 7 months, he flew to Dubai and decided to see a life of what it could be here in the UAE. And he's been here for I think 11 years now. Yeah.
and how long have you
Because of
been
you.
together? Yes.
Because of the relationship with you.
Yeah, we've been 11 years. Yeah, we've been together for 11 years.
Wow.
Married almost like married 8 years.
8 years. 8 years. So
Yeah.
like 3 years in a dating phase, getting to
Yeah,
know, and then
yeah, pretty
decided
much.
to, oh,
Well, the thing is,
okay.
we had like because we had a civil wedding in like Seychelles after a year and a half of being together, and then after another year and a half, we got the proper wedding in the Philippines. So I would
Wow.
still consider 8 years because the proper wedding was in the Philippines, the
Mhm.
Christian wedding, Catholic wedding rather. Yeah. So there.
Nice. But like all in all, it was really like I think it's somehow like an easy relationship between you two because like after a year and a half, you figured out, okay, this is who I want to marry,
Yeah,
right?
you know what? I actually I was quite surprised with myself because most of the time when I would have boyfriends, they were quite long. Like I
Mm.
had a friendship, I would like longer than that, and I it was quite for me him to propose after a year and a half was obviously for me as well another culture shock. But then when I told myself I was in that part of my life where I thought, yes, I think I am. I not think I know that I'm ready, and he was obviously certain that he wanted to be with me. So I said, why even bother prolonging it when I know that this is the person for me? So I just
Exactly.
jumped up and
Yeah.
took the opportunity, Yeah,
True.
here we are now. But yeah, it's
Imagine.
That's
cultural as well.
destiny, right?
It is
Yeah,
destiny.
yeah, cultural. And I think for them as well, it's more of I mean, obviously, I think there's Filipinos like this as well, but if they feel that the moment is right, they'll just go for it no matter how long you've been together. So I think yeah. And for them it's more of like no, why waste time, you know?
Exactly, agree with
Yeah.
you. Because just
Yeah.
want to share it quickly because I came from a breakup and then RA also came from a breakup. And then when we started together, it's like, everyone was really like against it because they are actually thinking, oh, this is just a rebound, your feelings isn't
Yes.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because probably you're hurt and you want to find like someone new. But then I
Yeah.
said, same thing with you. If the feeling is right, and you think that you are ready,
Yeah.
every
Take the
relationship is a risk. You wouldn't know
yes,
if that is someone that you
exactly.
will marry if you will not try,
Without yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Take the
Yeah.
leap.
Mhm.
Because for us Filipinos, we usually think about so many things. We think about the people around us. But we're so
We
we're so
are.
mindful of our
We
actions.
are.
So
Very true.
I cannot
so it's
agree
great.
more with more. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So that time Mika just listened to her heart, right? What you felt. And you
That
felt
time,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
that's
decided
true.
to, yeah.
I mean, to be honest,
Yeah.
like even when he
That's
proposed,
great.
the first thing I asked was, "Did you talk to my dad yet?" Like, you know,
Oh.
it's all mindfulness. Like you, because as Filipinas, we are always family
Oh
oriented.
yes.
So
Is,
it's
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
have you
for
talked to
sure.
this person, this person, this person, this person before you said anything? Did you get the good graces of them? And so, kaya it's part of our culture, and I think that's one thing that other
And you
foreigners
did.
love about us. Yes, and he did. He was
Mm.
able to. That time Skype
Oh.
call with my dad before asking. So yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
It's nice.
All right.
Because, like, good thing for you because Ben was very flexible and very
Mhm.
welcoming into getting to know your culture, right? Because I
Yes.
think, like, for sure, in all other nationalities, like Filipino culture is very, it's what you've mentioned, family oriented. And so,
Yes.
for sure, for the past 11 years, apart from this, knowing the feeling is right, and you knew, after a year and a half that this is someone that you will marry. What are the other things that you have to consider or adjust on a daily basis? What are these differences or challenges you have to go through with them?
Um, like initially, it was a bit difficult. Like you said, for me, family is everything, and it's so hard to try to make that balance of husband and then thinking about your family because I've always been close to my sisters, close to my parents, and living away from them always made, grew me closer to them even more. So when I met him and I was in Dubai, I was torn of, oh, on my leave I have to go home, I have to see my family, it's a must. And then eventually when I told myself, okay, hold on, like there's this man here that is waiting for me and is dedicating himself to me, I should also give him some time. So it was very hard at first, but the adjustments that you have to make to yourself is family is first, but there are certain priorities and you have to level them out. I mean, it's not hard. It's not like you're disregarding your family completely, but you've
Yeah.
completely, like given yourself to a person. Although Harper wasn't there before, it's completely different now that Harper's here. But even then, I just had to learn how to adjust to being mindful about his feelings and knowing that okay, he might not understand because I'm Filipina and we have certain other cultures na hindi niya alam. So yeah, so I just had to adjust myself, to be honest, and it was hard. It's not
Oh.
every, but yeah.
Were there, yeah, we can just imagine, I were there instances where you had arguments, or things that you didn't agree on, because of those differences?
Oh my gosh. Trust me, I'm not in a perfect relationship. Don't ever think that anyone is in a perfect relationship. But I always do tell myself, and I tell everyone else that it's the imperfections that make it perfect. Yeah. For me, yes, we have arguments, we have discussions. But one thing that I do appreciate about him is um, sometimes we clash. We're both Sagittarians, and I don't believe in horoscopes. And sometimes we're like these star signs, but I think there is something to it because they were both Sagittarians, so there is a
Mm.
clash. So when we do clash, I think there's one person that has to like level down a bit, and sometimes that's not me. It's hard. The women in me is very proud, but he knows how to level himself down and lower himself, and he's the one that will never leave an argument not fixed. And for him, it really needs to be fixed on the spot. For me, I need a
Nice.
little bit more time to sort of calm myself. But yeah, at the end, you learn. Like I've learned to adjust now. Nga naman, he's like, this is gonna be fixed later on, so why wait? Yan na naman yung the culture of
Yeah, why
True.
waste the time,
why
right?
Anti-aggression.
waste the time
True.
of being so angry? So
Mm-hmm.
he's just like, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be laughing again later. So why do you need
True.
this time? But yeah, I know. So and then eventually I was like, okay, fine. Ah. So hirap ilabas, but okay. But you see the point. As in, eventually, when you grow older, that's when you learn these things. Kaya, yeah, I like to think I'm still growing when it comes to relationships. I'm not.
Oh.
No one's ever
Yeah,
perfect about knowing what to
Oh.
do in a relationship. So
totally
Yes.
we all just
agree.
learn, right?
Growing is really a process.
Yeah,
And
it
for sure,
is.
you discover things with Ben every day of your life, together,
Yeah,
new
always,
things.
always. Like even as long as we've been together, there are certain things. Because no, that's one thing. Then that being jumping into a relationship without the time, I think it's
Mhm.
like you still are learning throughout the process. Because ang bilis namin eh. We just got
True.
married, and I mean, for me, like not for everyone, it's like 1.5 years of being together is not that short, naman.
Mm.
But For me, it is. I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah, before I used to know all of the corners and the little pet peeves of my other ex-boyfriends. Now I'm like, okay, now I'm learning these things again, but I'm already engaged, and you know what I mean? So every day till this day is we all learn, like you said, Aik. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. But that's a good thing, because
Yeah.
like you met a guy and humble and matured enough to deal with your things right there and then, your
Yeah,
concerns.
yeah.
So you think like it's really like something that you have discovered having a person with a different nationality. Have you experienced this one before? With other guys that you've had a relationship in the past, or Ben is the only guy that's really like humble enough to deal with these things with you.
I think I mean, I not for anything like, yeah, I think the only non-foreign boyfriend I had, yeah, my non-foreign boyfriends, they were all decent guys naman. They were all
Mm.
good. And I think the one thing that really drew me closer to Ben was he was raised by girls, by women.
Mm-hmm.
And he only met his stepfather when he was 13. So during that point, it was all just women that he was close to, his aunt,
So,
his cousin, the girl, his mom, his
Oh.
so
grandmother.
he,
He
yeah,
was, so he
high
knew,
respect, for
yeah, he knew
women.
what a woman was like and all the little
What women
things
Oh.
we
want.
have. Diba? No, women are not
Gentleman.
easy. I'll be very
Oh
honest. Women
yeah,
are
oh
Oh
not
yeah,
easy.
yes.
totally agree.
Aminin na natin na
Yes.
difficult. And you really need to find a guy that's willing to overcome these difficulties. And yeah, I think dun niya natutunan how to overcome the different uh, the different ways of women kasi nga he was raised by them. But um one thing that I did like about him, because he sort of did remind me of about how Filipinos were, like yung gestures of pangliligaw, or
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
Wow.
like in foreign
Imagine.
culture you don't really get that, no?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's what reminded me rin na may konting ligaw siyang ginawa, and I was like, okay, and
right.
he understood
Oh,
women, and so I was like,
those
okay,
are a tick
yeah,
on
there
that
was a
list,
tick of
right?
the yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's still nice to have ligaw sometimes.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And your parents and your friends would ask, right? Right? Right, would ask about it, right? Mika, gaano katagal ka niligawan? Or,
Yeah, of course.
diba?
It's
Yung
like
questions like that.
it's hard. Like kasi ng times na yun, like, yeah, like actually, oh, I would consider that ligaw. Like, kasi he was the type of person, you know how we were in high school, pag may
Mm-hmm.
nangligaw, sulat, and then
Oh, yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
pasa sa kaibigan. Anyway,
Yeah.
so like at his age at that time, I think he's around 26, 27. Yun, he was still writing love letters, he was writing
That's
emails, and he was
sweet.
kasi naka long distance kami. So yeah, like my parents were never, my mom was, but my dad, of course, he had four girls. So when it comes to like
Oh.
relationships, he was like,
For sure.
he doesn't want to know as of the moment. Pero he does
Mhm.
respect people, respect guys that respect him in that term.
Mhm.
Yeah, they would ask then about how the legal life was.
Mhm.
So it was there at least.
Oh, so yeah. So I think like
Nice.
your relationship with Ben is more of like there's not much cultural difference because he has been having this culture cultivated in him from
Yes.
early childhoods, which is good
Yes.
as a husband and definitely as a father, right?
Yes.
And so as a parent with your daughter Harper, what were the adjustments, or do you share same beliefs, same discipline to your
Yeah.
daughter? Can you share us more about it?
Sure. Well, with Harper, she's 5 years old now, so she's a lot easier to, I would say, talk to. So, nung time kasi when she was a lot younger, in terms of disciplining, we had to have a common ground of how we were going to discipline our child. Sometimes in the Filipino way was very, there are certain ways that I don't know, like
Exactly.
it's a bit harsher, and it's not naman harsher, but like there was certain different disciplines talaga with their side of the world and our side of the world.
Mhm.
um But I think with Mika say I stayed in the States for a few years when I was
Mhm.
younger, and in America, if we got touched or we got spanked, people like we were encouraged to call the police at a young
Mhm.
age, so it was very tricky in the States. So I think I grew up in an environment na talaga that was how disciplining was. You can talk to us, you can, like, for me, my dad disciplined me in a way na if he talked to me in a way now he was disappointed. He didn't even have to shout. He didn't have to do anything, but he talked to me in a way now he was disappointed and with the way I acted. That's it. It ruined me. I would be
Mhm.
already crying. So I take things differently than if I was to be spanked or if I was to be told and be shouted at. I take it differently, and that's how I wanted to treat Harper. Like at such a young age, they understand things. Yeah, with me and Ben, we had to have a common ground on how are you gonna deal with him. He was very strict then in terms of her safety. So in terms of safety, raises his voice. For me, same. If it was gonna hurt her, then it was something that we had to deal with. Because if the child sees different ways of disciplining
Yeah.
them,
They will
they're
be
gonna
True.
confused.
hide. Yeah, they're gonna be
Yeah, they'll
confused.
be
Exactly.
Like, but
confused.
mommy
Yeah.
said this. Why is daddy? So there are times then naman na it's not perfect. I disagree with how it happened, with how he disciplines her. He disagrees with
Mhm.
me with how I discipline her. So what we do is we just move away from the situation and then we talk about it. Okay, why do you think that this is the wrong way? Well, okay,
Mhm.
well, I think that's the wrong way too. So we come to a common ground. It's always the case. Just at the end of the day, yeah, Harper will notice. And like this little girl is already so chatty and she's
She
like she can tell
is.
her she can tell her life story to any stranger we walk to. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
But yeah, so there are certain things that we're trying to be careful of because we don't want her to see this kind of, reaction as well. Kaya yun.
Yeah.
Not
Thank you
easy.
for
You
that,
Yeah,
Mika.
no
Because
problem.
like communication is really important. So it
Yes.
all boils down to one thing: communication. You have to stay open with your partner, right?
Yes.
Unless like as couple and also as a parent to your
Yes.
daughter. And what one thing I got from you is literally setting the tone to
Yes.
Harper, right?
Definitely.
Just have to be
Definitely.
firm with that.
Yeah.
Marby?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, Ayik. We've been talking about there might be cultural differences, differences in values, differences in tradition. But I think what Mika shared with us is it wasn't those differences and trying to overcome those differences that would make it work, but really it's the way you communicate, the way you're
Yes.
Yep.
transparent, the way we
Yes.
want, the way how badly you want to make it work. I think
Of course.
what's at the core.
That is, yeah, you nailed it, Marby. That's true. How you
Yeah,
really, like I said, any relationship is never going to be so
Mm-hmm.
easy. It's
true.
always, you're always going to keep learning. You're always going to keep trying and growing. And you only do your best at the end of the day. You only try to do your best.
Right.
So pat yourself in the back, girls, as well. When you tell yourself, like, hey, I
Yeah.
did,
Oh
I did my
yeah.
best too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a learning process. It
yeah,
is.
Yeah, I
exactly.
agree. So yeah, thank you, Mika, for sharing
Welcome.
that.
Thank
And for
you.
making us realize that, yeah, at the end of the day, it's not those differences that will define the love that you have for the other person, but it's really
Exactly.
how committed you are, right?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
true.
And the willingness to accept and
Of
grow with your
course.
Exactly.
partner
And it has to be both
together.
sides, I guess,
Yep.
right?
Exactly. Yeah,
You
it
and your
does.
partner, you have to really make it work.
It
Okay.
does. Yeah.
Maybe do you have maybe a set of tips or advice, Mika, to those women or to our girlfriends out there who are
Yes.
also in maybe in a state of doubt if they're going to date someone who has different culture, different background? Do you have any words for them or advice or
Well,
tip?
okay, at the end of the day, you can't what do you call this? Oh, you can't decide, your heart decides who you want to be with for the long
I
run.
like
May it be,
that.
Mm-hmm.
like different cultures or what. It's what you see in the person. That's what I saw. So at the end of the day, if you do see, never be scared of cultural differences, because cultural differences can be overcome, just as long
True.
as you have open communication with each other and you guys decide on you guys have a clear understanding of where you stand and where he stands. And I think at that point, anything can happen and your relationship can flourish no matter what nationality he is. For me, it was never going to be a nationality issue for me. It was just like, okay, yeah, initially I was like, okay, he reminds me so much about my Filipino culture. But I'll set that aside. He's Ben is Ben. That's him. I married him. It may not be a British thing, and may be something that he was instilled with by his parents or his
Mm.
mother and his grandmother and all the beautiful women that raised him. So I have them to thank, not his culture. So always think of it that way, that there's always something beyond the culture and the nationality, and to go for it. Like, if you think you're 100%, up for it, go for it. I mean, to be honest, the only situation we have right now is where we live. Like, is it the Philippines or the, so that's the only issue you would think about. That's a tip as well. Like, if you are gonna go for it, decide beforehand where you guys are gonna be going or living, and that sometimes that can cause a factor as well. But that's it. At the end of the day, your heart decides where you want to be with or who you want to be with. So yeah.
I really
And
love
that
it.
spark you felt, right?
Yes. Let that spark flourish. Let that spark
Yeah.
shine even more if it is. And yeah, let all the troubles, set aside all the troubles about being with someone that is unfamiliar to you. Because at the end of the day, I think if I was going to be with a Filipino, I would still be unfamiliar with a Filipino, because at the end of the day,
Oh,
if his parents raised him differently, then, we can never know.
right.
So yeah, treat everyone as you would, open heartedly.
Agreed.
I really like that. And that really gives or confirms that message that, love could win. Love wins
Yes,
at the end of the
of course,
day.
it should always.
Indeed. And so, yeah, thank you, Mika, for a wonderful chat
Thank
with
you so
you.
much for
Really
having me. I had
appreciate
such a
the
great
time.
conversation.
Yeah. We
Thank you
wish we
so
had more time, Mika.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear more of your
much.
stories.
Thank you.
And we hope this isn't the first time. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
going to
Oh,
be the last. I'm
yes.
sorry. And so, yep, if we will have like future topics, I hope that you could embrace us again with open arms.
No problem. Let me know, and I would be more than happy to enlighten whatever I can for you girls. Anything for
Thank
you girls.
you. Thank
Again,
you.
so proud of you. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Mika.
Thank you so much, Mika. You're officially now a girlfriend.
GAWfriends.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, everyone, girlfriends, thank you for listening with us. It has been a pleasure. This is going to be every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Manila time. You can find us on our YouTube page, our Facebook, Anchor, and Spotify. So all four platforms.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Marby?
Yeah. Um, Join us, check us out. Let's continue the conversation. Not on Facebook, and we'd love to hear it from you, girlfriends. Or if you want to share your love story with us too, that's
Please
perfect.
do
Be sure to share it with
so.
us. And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode on next Wednesday.
All right. Bye, girlfriends.
Bye.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
All right. Thanks, Mika.
You're welcome,
You
girls.
say
Be
hi.
safe.
GAWfriends is available on Anchor and YouTube.
You may also find us on our Facebook page. Just search Growth and Wellness so we can continue our conversation together with our fellow GoFriends.
Also, if you wish to collaborate with us, just drop us an email at gawfriends@gmail.com.
Do you like this podcast? Please give us a feedback and share this with your friends and loved ones.
See you soon, GAWfriends!